She gave up her dream to save her mother's life, only to be called a failure behind her back. Now, with her secret sacrifice exposed to the world, she's finally ready to reclaim the future she almost lost. Even if it means walking away from the only family she's ever known. The glow of the hotel lamp did little to chase away the chill that settled in my bones. I just returned from the final session of a real estate conference in Providence, Rhode Island, my third major event of the year, all in pursuit of growing my independent real estate brand in Boston. My legs ached from standing all day, and my head was buzzing with statistics, networking names, and sales strategies. But none of that prepared me for the text from Jenna. "You need to see this. I'm so sorry." A single link accompanied her message. My fingers hovered over it. Jenna was my 16-year-old cousin, part of the TikTok generation that lived online. She'd been trying to become a lifestyle influencer by recording vlogs, Q&As, and casual live streams of family dinners. I wasn't surprised that she had streamed tonight's gathering. What surprised me, what completely shattered me, was what I saw when I tapped play. There she was, my mother, sitting at the family dining table, wine glass in hand, her posture relaxed, her voice unmistakably sharp. The video angle was low, tilted from someone's lap, Jenna's usual discreet placement when she wanted to capture candid family moments. "Oh, please," my mother scoffed, rolling her eyes dramatically. "My daughter thinks selling houses makes her successful. She couldn't hack it in nursing school, and now she's just wandering through life like a desperate failure." My breath caught. It felt like being slapped in the face. My name is Sinead Sullivan Estimost. I'm 32 years old, and for the past 5 years, I've quietly paid for everything related to my mother's medical care. After her diagnosis of aggressive rheumatoid arthritis, I became the one driving her to appointments, fighting with insurance companies, researching treatments, and covering every cost insurance wouldn't touch. I didn't just shift my budget, I emptied my entire savings last year to pay for a biologic treatment her provider denied. And yet here she was, ridiculing me to her siblings. She wasn't done. All these grand dreams about becoming a nurse. And now she just sells houses to people who succeeded in life. My mother laughed, sipping her wine, the same wine I bought for family dinners. My uncle and aunt laughed too. The sting was unbearable. I watched the rest of the video in silence. It wasn't brief. A full minute of mockery, her talking about how I cried after a hard exam in nursing school. How pathetic it was that I thought selling 1 or 2 houses a month meant I was making it. I just didn't have what it takes for real achievement. I had to pause the video halfway through, my vision swimming with tears. Jenna's follow-up text came a moment later. I didn't know what she was saying until it was too late. "Do you want me to take the video down?" I stared at the message. My hands trembled. No. I typed, "Leave it up. I need to show you something tomorrow when I get back." The next morning's drive back to Boston was a blur. I barely remembered packing my bags or checking out. My hands gripped the steering wheel with white knuckles as my mother's words looped over and over in my mind. Pathetic. Failure. Just sells houses. It felt like a betrayal of the highest order. Not just because it was cruel, but because it came from the person I'd sacrificed everything for. 5 years ago, I was halfway through a competitive nursing program. I was thriving. And then, one call changed everything. My mother had collapsed at work. The diagnosis came fast, severe, early onset. Rheumatoid arthritis. Her joints were deteriorating. Her pain was constant, and the medication was expensive. Insurance barely scratched the surface. "I don't know what to do," she sobbed in the hospital bed. "How am I supposed to afford all this?" "I'll help," I said without hesitation. "We'll figure it out together, Mom." And I meant it. Within weeks, I put my nursing program on hold. I needed a flexible job with high earning potential. Real estate seemed like the only option. I took the licensing course while staying at home to care for her, then started hustling to build a client base. I worked 60-hour weeks. I missed birthdays, holidays, and vacations. I was everything: her nurse, accountant, scheduler, and emotional anchor. And I never complained. She'd occasionally say, "You've become so responsible," or "I don't know what I'd do without you." Those moments of tenderness had fueled me. But now, I couldn't help wondering, were they lies or just convenient gratitude? By the time I pulled into my driveway, I was numb. I didn't tell her I was coming home early. I couldn't even look at her yet. I took out my laptop bag and removed the thick folder labeled Mom Medical. Inside were receipts, printed emails, insurance statements, pharmacy bills, doctor notes, all proof of what I'd done. Over 5 years, I had documented everything, partly for taxes, partly out of habit. I never expected I'd use it like this. A text pinged. Jenna, I'm at the coffee shop on Maple. Can meet whenever you're ready. Me. Be there in 15. Maple Brew was bustling when I arrived. Jenna sat in a corner booth, oversized headphones around her neck, her vibrant blue hair unmistakable. When she saw me, her face twisted with guilt. I'm so sorry, Est. I didn't mean to. It's okay, I said, sitting across from her. I need to thank you. She blinked. Thank me? I placed a folder on the table and opened it. Jenna's eyes widened as she flipped through the records. The totals added up fast. Over 1,000. This is everything? She whispered. All of it, I confirmed. And that doesn't include time, energy, or opportunity cost. And she called you a failure? I nodded. That's when I realized this isn't a one-off. This is who she is. Jenna looked at me, her expression hardening. So what now? I'm done, I said. I've already started the paperwork to remove myself from her accounts. No more bills, no more rides, no more management. Are you going to tell her? I shook my head. She'll find out soon enough. And with that, I pulled out my phone, opened my banking app, and made the transfer. Every penny I had earmarked for her next treatment was now moved into my savings. I'd been saving for one thing, returning to nursing school. Now, I would use it for exactly that. Jenna looked stunned. You're serious? I start this fall, I said, pulling out the nursing program acceptance letter. And this time, I'm not deferring. Back home, I got to work. I spent the weekend contacting insurance companies, switching payment responsibilities, drafting emails, and collecting the necessary documentation. My dining table looked like a war zone of paperwork. Her texts started flooding in on Monday morning. Where are you? I've been waiting for an hour. The doctor's office says my card is declined. Fix this ass app. Est, are you ignoring me? Answer your damn phone. I silenced the device and kept going. By that evening, I was done with almost all the financial separations. It was time for the next phase. An email.to every family member who'd been at that dinner. Subject: regarding Mom's medical care. Dear family, after much consideration, I will no longer be managing my mother's medical care or financial support. Over the past 5 years, I have covered all expenses related to her condition, totaling over $120,000. This includes insurance premiums, medications, specialist visits, and treatments. I have made this decision for personal reasons. Attached is a detailed breakdown of the support I've provided. Should any of you wish to assist her moving forward, you now have the necessary information. This decision was not made lightly. Best Est Suleimani attached a spreadsheet, added the video link Jenna had sent, and hit send. Then I sat back, breathing, for what felt like the first time in years. Let them see the truth. Let them watch the video. Let them decide if they still believe I'm a failure. I wasn't afraid of the fallout. I had just taken the first step toward reclaiming my life. 3 days passed. 3 days of silence. Well, at least from me. My mother blew up my phone with calls, texts, and voicemails. She went from confusion to frustration to full-blown rage. I didn't answer. Each message only strengthened my resolve. Then came the letter from the insurance company, mistakenly delivered to my address. It explained her premium had increased and that certain treatments were no longer covered under her current policy. The language was clinical, but the subtext was clear. Without my financial support, her coverage would suffer. I placed the letter in a new envelope, addressed it to her home, and added a short note. This was sent to my address by mistake. I suggest you read it carefully. No signature, no emotion, just facts. On Monday morning, I finalized my Re-enrollment at Boston City Nursing School. The advisor had been skeptical at first. "You've been away from the program for a while, Miss Sullivan," she said, flipping through my file. "But your grades were excellent. With a placement exam and a few refreshers, I think we can bring you up to speed." "I'm ready," I said, the confidence in my voice catching me by surprise. That evening, I sat at my kitchen table, sipping herbal tea as I organized textbooks and made a study calendar. My life had suddenly become quiet, peaceful, purposeful. No more emergency calls. No more rescheduling clients to accommodate my mother's appointments. No more sacrifices in the name of love that always felt one-sided. Then came the ambush. It happened outside a 3-bedroom colonial I'd just finished showing in Brookline. I spotted them in the parking lot, my mother and Aunt Maureen, waiting beside a rust-colored sedan. My stomach dropped. I considered driving off, but they had already seen me. I stepped out of my car slowly. "Calm, collected, Sinead," my mother said, with that fake sweetness that only barely masked her fury. "We need to talk." I said nothing. "Your mother is struggling," Maureen added. "Her medications have tripled in price. She can't get in to see her specialists." This isn't what you want, is it?" I crossed my arms. "What I want is to be treated with respect. What I want is acknowledgement for the 5 years I gave her. What I want is a mother who doesn't mock me to the entire family on a live stream." My mother blanched. "What are you talking about?" "The video, Mom. The one Jenna recorded." I heard every word. She opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. "You're twisting things out of context," she finally snapped. I was venting. "People say things. It doesn't mean I don't appreciate you." I laughed, but there was no humor in it. "You didn't just say one thing. You laid out a whole monologue. And you weren't venting, you were performing." Maureen looked lost. "What video? Patricia, what's she talking about?" Of course, Mom hadn't told her. "Damage control mode. You can ask Jenna for it," I told her. "Or don't. I don't care. I've already removed myself from everything." "But I'm your mother," my mom wailed. "How can you abandon me when I need you the most?" I stepped back, breathed. "You abandoned me first." With every cruel comment, every eye roll, every time you laughed behind my back. "I built a career while supporting you. I sacrificed my dream to become a nurse. And you couldn't even be proud of me." She lunged forward, grasping at straws. "It's the disease, Sinead. You know how pain changes people. Then maybe let someone else carry the burden for a while," I said quietly. I turned to Maureen. "How many appointments have you taken her to? How many bills have you paid? How many hours have you sat in insurance offices on her behalf?" Maureen opened her mouth, then closed it. I got in my car. "This isn't over," my mother shouted. I looked back. "One last time. You're right. It's not over. Not for you." And I drove away. The fallout hit within 24 hours. Aunt Maureen messaged me a long, scathing paragraph about family duty and how shameful it was to air private business in front of everyone. Uncle James accused me of selfishness. Cousin Thomas suggested I was mentally unwell. I blocked them all. Only Jenna and, surprisingly, Great Aunt Bridget reached out with support. "It takes courage to stand up for yourself, dear," Bridget wrote. "Call me if you need anything." The silence afterward felt like a blessing. 3 weeks later, I sat in the front row at Boston City's welcome orientation. Nursing school was officially underway. I was older than most of my classmates, but I didn't care. I was exactly where I belonged. In a moment of weakness, I opened the video file again, the one from Jenna's livestream. I hadn't watched it since Providence. I stared at the play button. My mother's face, frozen mid-sip of wine, looked smug. I closed the laptop. I didn't need to relive it. I didn't need to vindicate myself to people who never asked for my truth. I had the evidence if I needed it. But right now, I had a future to build. 3 months passed in a blur of motion, responsibility, and healing. I had aced my placement exam, secured my spot in the accelerated nursing program, and adjusted my real estate business to accommodate my classes. I hired a bright, enthusiastic college student named Kylie as my part-time assistant. She was still learning the ropes, but her energy reminded me of what I used to be before life had slowly drained the fire out of me. There were late nights and conflicts in my calendar. I missed a few client calls. Some days, I felt like I was barely keeping it together. But for every setback, there was progress, a professor's praise on my report, a satisfied real estate client, a quiet moment of satisfaction when I finished. A day knowing I'd given it my all, the weight I'd carried for so long had lifted. I was finally walking my path until the hospital called. It was a Friday evening. I was preparing for the Boston Real Estate Association's annual awards gala. I had almost decided not to attend. But when my broker nominated me for the Resilience in Real Estate Award, something about it resonated. I was curling my hair in the bathroom when my phone vibrated. A known number. Then a message. It's Jenna, using Uncle Patrick's phone. Emergency. Callback ASAP. My chest tightened. I called instantly. Jenna picked up on the first ring. I'm at the hospital, she said breathlessly. It's your mom. She collapsed. They think it's a reaction to her new medication. She's asking for you. I froze. The hair iron clattered into the sink. Is she stable? Yes. They're monitoring her overnight. But she's scared, Sinead. And she's asking for you by name. I closed my eyes. The familiar wave of guilt rose, but it didn't drown me. It hovered. I'll be there in 2 hours, I said. Are you sure? Uncle Patrick said yes, but I have somewhere I need to be first. The hotel ballroom was glowing. Gold accents, champagne flutes, a sea of realtors in elegant gowns and sharp suits. For the first time in years, I felt like I belonged. I mingled with colleagues, shared laughs, posed for photos, and even reconnected with Margot Stevens, one of the top brokers in Boston. You've made quite a comeback, she said. I've heard you've been doing incredible work in Brookline. Thank you, I said, genuinely touched. Then, the announcement. And the Resilience in Real Estate Award goes to Sinead Sullivan. The room erupted. Applause thundered in my ears. I stood slowly, walked to the stage with a surreal weightlessness, and accepted the glass trophy that caught the lights above like it was made of stardust. I faced the microphone, cleared my throat. This means more than you know, I began. The past few years, I wasn't sure if I was building a career or just surviving. But I've learned something. Resilience isn't just about bouncing back. It's about transforming. The room hushed as I continued. While running my real estate business, I've also returned to my original passion, nursing. And somehow, those two worlds, healing people and helping them find homes, have taught me the same lesson. Boundaries matter, support matters, and believing in yourself when no one else does. That matters most. Applause rang out again, and then quietly, I slipped away. The hospital room was dimly lit when I arrived. My mother sat upright in bed, alert and fuming. Finally decided to show up, she snapped. Having too much fun at your little party? Uncle Patrick stood in the corner, arms crossed. Jenna hovered near the window, silent. Hello, Mom. I came as soon as I could. How are you feeling? How do you think I'm feeling? I collapsed. My new meds are wrong. This whole thing is your fault. My fault? She glared. You left me. You took away my insurance and dumped me on cheaper doctors. I could have died. I looked at Patrick, who seemed startled by the venom in her voice. The doctors adjusted your dosage, right? You're stable? That's not the point. Actually, I said, placing my trophy box on the table beside her bed. It is. She blinked. What's that? Recognition, I said, from the Boston Real Estate Association. For building a successful business while managing personal hardship, Patrick leaned in. You won an award? Yes. For keeping my business afloat while also covering over $120,000 of Mom's medical care. While putting my dream of becoming a nurse on hold. While listening to her call me a desperate failure, Patrick's eyes widened. You. What? Jenna stepped forward. The video, Uncle Patrick. From dinner. She didn't tell you? Mom turned pale. That was private, it was live streamed, I said. You mocked me on the entire internet, and you never even apologized. That's not true. Really? Want to watch the video together? She fell silent. I exhaled. I didn't come here to fight, just to answer any medical questions. But let's not pretend I abandoned you. I carried you for 5 years, alone. Patrick looked like he was seeing her for the first time. You never said any of this, he whispered. I turned to Jenna. Ready to go? She nodded. As we left, I heard Patrick say quietly, we need to talk, Patricia, about everything. 3 more months rolled by. My life, once orbiting entirely around my mother's needs, had finally aligned with my ambitions. Between nursing lectures, clinical rotations, and overseeing my streamlined real estate business, my days were full, but they were mine. Each morning, I slipped into my crisp white uniform with purpose. In the evenings, I studied, worked with Kylie on real estate closings, or simply allowed myself quiet moments of peace. Even exhaustion felt different now, earned, not inflicted. I'd stopped waiting for apologies. Then, something unexpected happened. A local news station picked up my Boston Medical Journal interview. The story about career changers entering healthcare was suddenly trending. Within a week, it had racked up over 50,000 views. The article emphasized the resilience of women like me, reinventing themselves while navigating personal upheaval. Comments flooded in, some from aspiring nurses, some from burned-out professionals seeking hope, others from people estranged from toxic family members, thanked me for showing it was okay to walk away. And then, the knock.it was Saturday morning. I was reviewing notes for a Monday pharmacology exam when Kylie called. Sinead, she said, a tremor in her voice. Your mom showed up at the office. She's asking for you. She says she wants to talk. She looks different. I froze. Is she causing trouble? No, Kylie said gently. Just waiting. Quiet. She brought something with her. A box. I considered my options. I could tell Kylie to ask her to leave. I could ignore the situation entirely. But curiosity, cautious, bitter curiosity, won out. I'll be there in 30 minutes. When I arrived, my mother was seated in the client lounge of my Brookline office. She looked smaller somehow, not just physically, but in person. She held a cardboard box on her lap. Sinead, she said, standing. Thank you for coming. I crossed my arms. I didn't come for you. I came because I didn't want Kylie dealing with this. She nodded, almost meekly. I deserve that. We sat. The silence stretched uncomfortably. What do you want? She placed a box between us and opened it. Inside were photos, my childhood drawings, letters I'd written from summer camp, the stethoscope I'd used when playing nurse at age 10, my nursing school acceptance letter from 6 years ago, creased, reread, clearly not discarded. I kept them all, she said, even when I couldn't say the words out loud. I remained still. You were right, she continued, about everything I took and took from you, and I mocked the very life you built to save me. I watched that interview, saw you standing proud in your uniform. You looked whole. Her eyes glistened. It broke me. Not because you were doing well without me, but because I never made you feel like you deserved to. The box sat like an artifact of the love she couldn't express until now. Why now? I asked. She swallowed. Because I've started seeing a therapist, Patrick insisted, and because Jenna sent me a clip of your speech, the real estate award. You were magnificent, and I realized I never told you I was proud. Not once. The part of me that craved her approval stirred, but I kept it still. What do you want from me, Mom? Nothing, she whispered. Just the chance to say I'm sorry, and to ask if someday, not today, not tomorrow, you might let me earn a second chance. I stared at the box. In the photo of me in a paper nurse's hat, beaming at age 9. Thank you for the apology, I said finally. It means more than you know, but I need time. She nodded. Of course. Weeks passed. We didn't speak, but the apology lingered, softening, not erasing, the years of hurt. And then, the letter arrived. It was from the Boston Nurses Foundation. I'd been nominated for their New Pathway Scholarship, awarded to students who'd overcome adversity in pursuit of nursing. My professor had submitted me, citing my interview, academic standing, and real estate work. Your story matters, she had written. It's proof that healing begins when we choose ourselves. Tears blurred my vision as I read the letter. Full tuition for the next 2 semesters. A grant for medical supplies. I wasn't just surviving. I was being seen. The scholarship ceremony was intimate but elegant. Held at the Boston Medical Center auditorium, it was filled with nurses, professors, and hopefuls in white coats. I didn't expect her to be there, but as I stepped off the stage with my certificate in hand, I saw her, seated quietly in the back row. My mother, she didn't wave, didn't approach, just placed a hand over her heart. And I nodded. It wasn't forgiveness. Not yet. But it was something better. Understanding. I had reclaimed my path, rebuilt my life, recentered my worth, and now I was ready for whatever came next.